So when you're lifting heavy, when you've got a potential PB or just a heavy session, what's your eating habits like? Do you sort of carb load the day before? Do you eat on the day? How many meals do you eat that day? And how much time do you wait between the last meal and the workout? If you do eat too close to your set, do you get acidic and reflux? Do you get gassy? Do you get both? How do you counter this? How tight do you do your belt? Is higher better for reflux? Is lower better for not shitting yourself? Do you take reflux tablets? The answer is going to vary from person to person and body to body. Everyone's built a little bit differently and reacts to different substances. You will have to do a little bit of work on your own and find out what works for you. You will have to do a little bit of trial and error to find this. I think that's half the fun of training. That's the sport we chose. Watching people on YouTube that are at the elite level and then trying little things and little hacks that they do in their training, applying it to our training, and seeing how we can benefit from that. Now, I've had 2 meals to fuel me today. One around 9 o'clock. The other was around midday, maybe 1 o'clock. It's now about 8 o'clock. So I haven't eaten in ages. Like, I literally just finished putting a gym together. I was thinking if I eat, it'd just ruin my deadlift session. Like, would I be able to lift more if I fueled myself correctly? Yes, I would have. But I needed to eat at maybe 3 or 4 o'clock again. It's too late now. Like, if I was to eat now at 7, 8 o'clock, no matter what I ate, it would either make me reflux or fart myself. I don't want either. I've found there's only one food that really doesn't make me reflux, and it has heaps of calories. The McDonald's cheeseburger. I know what you're thinking, but I have one of them before training sometimes when I haven't eaten in ages. And it really fuels me through the workout. I don't get any kind of reflux. Can't say the same about farting though. Despite only having a couple of meals, not eating in ages, I actually feel pretty strong today. I've gone through an extensive warm-up routine already that included clams, side planking, and now I'm just in between sets doing some band pull-aparts, keeping the glutes active. I'm going to be sumoing my heavy set. So every muscle plays its role in the deadlift. I want certain things to fire more than others. On top of everything else, I want my abs to stay braced and I want my glutes to fire. After I sumo deadlift, I want my glutes to be the most sore out of everything. If you pull up the next day from sumo deadlift and your lower back's sore or your adductors are sore, your glutes aren't working as hard as they should have been. I usually do at least 5 glute activation sets before I squat or deadlift. Don't get me wrong, some days I can't be bothered. I'm impatient, I'm angry, life takes over, there's only a short time that I'm allowed to spend in the gym. You just really do have to be sensible on those days because they're the days that you're going to get injured. The idea is to never get injured. 5 extra kilos that you're not ready for or 1 extra set that you don't have the endurance for can put you out for weeks, even months. Think of some productive months that you've strung together with your training and how much size you've put on, how much stronger you've got. Well, this could be those months that you miss out on because you forgot to do your activations and you decided to do an extra heavy set. So when I first started deadlifting, there was this program like an Excel document circulating around the gym and you put in your weight and your current max and what you want to do in the future in your 8-week block or whatever, and it works out like numbers for you. It's like, week 1 you do this many sets, this many reps, week 2 you do this many, and then it was like a sort of 10-week or 12-week program. Now at the time I didn't really know how to deadlift. I knew vaguely how to do the movement with poor form. But I think I decided to do like about 150 kg max or something like that. Now I thought if you don't do exactly what the program says, there's no way you're going to hit your 150k max or whatever, right? Now I remember one of my first training partners, he was a bit older and stronger than me, and he goes, "Get ready, we're going heavy next week. We're doing deadlifts, we're going to max out all this." And I was like, I better practice heavy. Even though he was way stronger than me and would have blew me out of the water, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I've got to compete somehow, eh? And I was in the middle of this big program that had been circulating. So I was like, I'm going to do this heavy set to prepare for next week, the deadlift competition. And then I'm going to do what the program said I should do as like accessory work. But I bolted a disc during that heavy one. And then, did the whole program. I was in agony, but like adrenaline and endorphins and that just kept me going because I was injured. I was in a little bit of shock, I guess. And come the deadlift comp that I was just having with my mate, dead set, I could not even pick up 60 kg. And then, a few guys from the gym referred me on to a physician, and he said, have you tried lifting sumo? And I said, what's sumo? And he said, you put your legs open like this. And ever since then, I've considered myself a sumo puller. So basically right now on the bar, I'm lining myself up with the knurl. Now with sumo pulling, I've actually pulled with my shins both sides of the knurl. I've gone ridiculously wide. I've gone almost like a sort of hybrid stance in between, where I can't even put my hands in the middle. They almost have to be outside, but it's still a sumo. I've found where I am now, just inside the knurl is right for me. It's almost like a hybrid. Like it's pretty close. It's not ridiculously wide or anything, but I feel like that's where I'm at my strongest. So try a few different stances. Generally, as a general rule, right, if you're taller, you'd go a little bit wider than I am now. I trained at a gym once and there was this basketballer and he was like 7 foot, and he actually found it really annoying because he had to put his shins closer than he would have liked because his toes actually hit the weights. Like he was that tall and his limbs were that long that he had to stand like that. It's always a bit weird at commercial gyms using chalk, because like you don't know, you feel like you're criminal, like you're doing something wrong, but really you're just putting a little bit of chalk on. I'm not one of those bastards that, claps the chalk and it goes everywhere. And, I just sort of do my thing and try and make as little mess as possible. I've also got this new stuff that I've been using a little bit recently. It's called liquid chalk. Basically, it's, exactly like it is. It feels and smells almost like sanitizer, but it makes your hands white and grippy. Now, I lift hook grip. If you don't know what that is, maybe Google can explain it better than me, but basically I lift hook grip for 2 reasons. One, when I lift under over, one side I'm always like sort of tilting towards that, and one side gets stronger than the other in the hips. And also with my bench press, one side just gets way higher than the other, and I find with hook grip it just evens them out a little bit. One side does not get stronger than the other. It's just more balanced, and I can also get a little lower with my hands. So my hips get a little lower and my torso can stand a little taller. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. So basically, I'm just sitting down and standing up. I'm not really flexing at the hips. I am a little bit, especially at the top, but I'm trying to sort of be as upright as possible and just trying to stand up and sit down. And usually around about this weight, that's when I'll stop the warm-ups. So this will be my last sort of band pull aparts in between sets. Just I don't want to fatigue myself too much. I'm already like nearing the peak of my workout. And it's also like sort of calming, almost like yoga-like or Pilates-like doing this. Whereas when I'm doing this kind of weight, I like to be angry, in like a state of fight or flight. Like when I'm doing this in-between stuff, right, I'm sort of listening to the Fugees or something along those lines. Then when I'll get up ready for the lift, I might listen to some like Chicago drill or, something angry, something to get me real hyped. So I'm in this habit before a big lift, I like put my hands in the air and take a breath. I don't really know why I do that. I've just been doing it for ages and like I've been doing it too much to stop, just to have it now. This guy, dirty tissues falling out of his pockets and that. Rude, I just threw it on the floor, because I was like in the zone. Nothing distracts me, not even dirty tissues. I really should put that in the bin though. Anyway, enough nonsense, back to the lift now. One tip or technique cue that's constantly in my mind is to get your head as high as you possibly can and stand tall. A lot of people lean back in a deadlift. That is wrong. You want to go up and down. If you watch my head, I'm standing as tall as possible. Wow, I look 6 foot like that, eh? Yep, there we go. Even these bars hurt my thumbs. Yeah. And now on to 200. Now, lately when I do 200, I get dizzy. I don't know what it is, and then I go heavier and I feel okay. But on 200, man, this was hard. Like, I felt like I was going to pass out if I did another rep. Like, it was pretty full on. Now, I'm pretty sure not eating may have something to do with it, but yeah, it's happened to me before. It's a bit weird, but yeah, I always hit 200, feel dizzy, feel like I can't do any more. I've been doing this for months now, and then, yeah, push past it. But the next couple of sets after this felt fine. They felt easier than this 200, but this was a tough lift. Maybe this one had to do with the food. That's why I was lightheaded. One thing I have been noticing in this workout, like I literally have no gas, no turtle head, no nothing, eh? Like dead set. My last couple of workouts have been pretty bad. Remember like last deadlift session, I had to let one go in between reps, and then like everyone had their headphones on, so no one heard, but these chicks gave me like a really dirty look, and I just like put my hand over my face and looked around like it wasn't me. It's real though, man. Like you can't personal best when you're doing that kind of thing. And enough nonsense. This is my pass out lift. So it's like my vision's blurry right now, and I'm feeling very dizzy. And yeah, the hardest part about these next couple of lifts wasn't actually doing the lifts themselves. It was working at the kilos to pounds conversion. It was quite confusing. I didn't really like it, but I still did the lifts. So ideally, right, I'd probably like to be in some flat-soled shoes. I didn't have any, hence why I'm deadlifting in bare feet. I can't do it in socks because on that plywood, right, I spread the floor each deadlift, and yeah, I'd be doing the splits, and I wouldn't have even completed the rep. I should probably worry about my hygiene, like if I get tinea or like gangrene or something like that, like you know where it's come from, mate. My favourite deadlift video of all time is the Ed Cohn Silent Mike Mark Bell one. The one where Ed Cohn tells them to open their taints. I literally watched that. I went through a phase like every sumo session for about 6 months. I watched that before every session, and I don't think I missed a sumo for that whole 6 months. I also went through a phase too, that Westside Barbell documentary trailer, that used to put me in beast mode, I used to watch that before my lifts, and yeah, I never missed a lift after watching that trailer either. One advantage I believe I have with the sumo, right, I can really use my quads, especially at the first part of the movement, and I can put so much tension through the bar that it almost makes my legs look long. I look like a tall dude there. And then I stand up and then I'm not tall anymore. All right. G'ing myself up, weirding everyone around me out. I think I've got about 232 or 233 on the bar. Just north of 500 pounds for you Yanks. Now, the weakest part of my sumo has always been the lockout. It's pretty evident in this. I'm happy with this lift because I'm light. I'm about 85 kg when completing this lift. But yeah, I do need to do some rack pulls amongst a few other things. If you look at it, it's pretty smooth, and then my big quads get in the way. I'm going to blame them anyway. Sore thumbs again. Need a couple more weeks on the hook grip, and then I'll get rid of those pains. So I'm definitely not unique with my lockout problem. A lot of people that do deadlift, whether it's sumo or conventional, probably more conventional, but hey, sumo pullers get it too, where yeah, it is a little bit of a problem. The lockout is the weakest part of your lift. How am I going to fix that? I believe my abs and glutes probably just aren't strong enough to power through the lift. Probably glutes is the number one thing that, yeah, assists that lockout, but it's also got to do with your back muscles, especially your lats. They probably switched off a bit at the top of that lift, and yeah, I just need to work on that aspect of my deadlift. I'll probably be doing some rack pulls. I probably won't do them in a sumo stance. I'll probably do them more in a conventional. But yeah, I'll just be working the top half of that deadlift over the next few weeks. Now, 3 weeks from now, right, I'll still be weak at the lockout. It's not going to solve my issue, but it's going to get me a little bit closer. And at the end of the day, right, training's a journey, not a race. I'm not just going to fix my deadlift and, it's going to be perfect in 3 weeks. My deadlift will never be perfect, and I'll always have that white belt mentality. I'm always learning, and I'm always constantly trying to improve. Even if, to an outsider, I might do one lift and, whoa, that's a good lift, that's a perfect lift. Man, you got to be your own worst critic if you want to improve. And that last bit of the lift, like my thumb popped out, and then I'm rummaging around like a madman trying to find my lifting straps. And I go up to the desk and I'm like, oh, bro, is there any lifting straps? And then I identified my lifting straps. Yep, that's them, because I left them in the gym about, a couple of weeks ago or something. Luckily, they found them. Some nice person handed them in. Now, sumoing with straps, my quads really get in the way. And when I'm hook gripping, the bar actually drops down a little lower, whereas with straps, the bar sits higher on my hand, and I can't get it quite as upright. So my chest is a little lower, and my bum's a little higher. And when I come to the top of the lift, it bangs into my quads. I don't like it. So, with straps, it's usually just conventional pulling. I probably, if I was lifting max, I might even grip a little closer. I usually, when I'm doing the straps on a conventional, I'll put them a little wider just so I can almost separate the bar, bend the bar, and involve my back in the lift. One thing that's really underrated and doesn't get done enough by me and by a lot of other lifters too, people sort of disregard their technique and just lift heavy, heavy, heavy. And hey, if your technique isn't right, but you just lift heavy, 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 you can't change the technique on a max lift. It's not going to work. You can tell your body, I should do this, I should do that, but it's going to pick up that max lift and it's just going to move how you've always moved, right? What you do on your rest days, you still lift, right? You still deadlift, you still squat, you still bench press, but you do maybe 50% of your max, right? You do a 5x5, reps of 3, something like that. Don't do a ridiculous amount or you'll be fatigued. But you just sort of try different methods. All right, what if I plant my feet in the ground? What if I brace my abs? What if I do this with my hands, that with my hands, this with my shoulder blades, right? Then you do one lift and you have an epiphany and you go, I've been deadlifting wrong this whole time, right? I should have been squeezing this muscle instead of that muscle. I should have been doing this instead of that. Every workout that I back off, I figure something out that I've been doing wrong this whole time, right? That I need to focus on. All right, my homework I'm going to give you, you need to try one of those workouts for one of your lifts, figure out what you're doing wrong and fix it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Until next week.